It was blues. It was rock and roll.
It's all right. Have a good time.
And it was Windy City Soul.
Oh, it's all right.
On a musical mile in Chicago, independent record companies pumped out hits that made America dance.
Oh, till the body baby diamond ring.
It was a different sound. The world loved something different.
It's amazing that this is black music. There weren't any black entrepreneurs in it.
We tried to set the standard for what black people should do in the record business.
We had the best music, and we gave the best parties. I mean, it was the best.
It was the dawn of rhythm and blues, and on one Chicago street, R&B history was made. This is Etta James, and the street was Record Row.
Major funding for Record Row, Cradle of Rhythm and Blues, was provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Additional funding was provided by the Central Educational Network, the Illinois Humanities Council, and the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences.
Black Chicago. In the 1950s, it was booming. 800,000 African Americans called the Windy City home, and 2,000 more black folk arrived from the South every week. They came for jobs in northern factories and steel mills. They came for a chance at a better life. And in Chicago, they found so many ways to enjoy themselves. In Southside nightclubs and beer joints, they danced to live music and to records spinning on the jukebox. But to hear this music over the airwaves, black Chicagoans tuned their radio to one voice.
Now it's time for your old friend and swing master, Al Benson.
Thank you. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Here I am, all ready and all set to bring to you 30 minutes of red-hot, beat-me-down, bring-you-up swing tunes of today. And now it's on with the show.
Benson was the first DJ in the city to broadcast the gut bucket Delta blues of the South and the up-tempo rhythms from the West Coast. Al Benson played rhythm and the blues, and it was just what black Chicago wanted to hear. With Benson playing the music and blacks earning more money, sales of R&B records soared. In segregated America of the 1950s, black music was basically ignored by most major record labels. Only a handful of small companies made records for black consumers. But as the demand for black music grew, dozens of independent record companies sprang up to cash in on a new market. Chicago was soon buzzing with companies recording rhythm and blues. Several of these record labels settled on South Michigan Avenue, a street that was known as Record Row. The street has changed a lot since its heyday in the late 50s and early 60s. Tattered buildings, small businesses, and parking lots hide Record Row's former glory, when it was home to 17 record distributors and a half a dozen record labels with names like Chess, Wonderful, Chance, King, Constellation, Brunswick, and deejay. Back then, the street was hot. Record labels fought to be the first to get their song on the radio. Would-be producers covered the city looking for talent. Steel workers and cab drivers became stars overnight.
Daddy gonna give me old horse and carriage.
There was such an abundance of excitement that was created in this little area between Roosevelt Road and 22nd Street.
Everyone knew everyone. We all ate at the same restaurant, Pat's Restaurant in the New Michigan Hotel. Many times a guy would start at one end trying to sell you his song or master and work his way up. Sometimes they'd sell it 2 or 3 times and be laughing all the time.
Back in those days, you could come and you could hit every major company
in the world in 2 blocks.
It was unbelievable. And you could walk down one side and up the other, and you'd run into somebody with a hit record in their back pocket.
The music that drove Record Row was mostly black music, written and performed by black artists. But most of the power was in the hands of white record men like Leonard and Phil Chess, 2 of the most loved, hated, and influential men in the black music industry. They came over from Poland with their family in 1928.
My dad had a junkyard on 29th and State Street, and my brother and me used to go and help him during the summer and on Saturdays. Right across the street was a little run-down shack. There was a church, and when they get in a groove on a Saturday or Sunday, start clapping their hands, man, you'd stand there and you couldn't help but jump to the music. That's when we first heard the music.
In 1945, the Chess brothers owned a nightclub for blacks called the Macomba Lounge. They hired musicians to entertain the crowd with jazz and urban blues. Blacks crowded these clubs for the nightlife and the music. Leonard and Phil saw an opportunity. There weren't many recordings of these musicians, so they quit the bar business and became record men and started up a relationship with DJ Al Benson.
Al Benson would play a record 4 times in a row if you took care of him right. And you'd have instant reaction. He was the first with a major black listening audience. Major, because that's the only place they could hear it.
I went down to Eli to get my pistol out of barn.
Many blues artists were unskilled laborers by day and blues men by night. They brought their harmonicas and guitars from the South and amplified them, creating a new sound, urban blues. The first hit maker for Chess Records was a truck driver named McKinley Morganfield, better known as Muddy Waters.
Just don't work on you.
Muddy's vocal style and bottleneck guitar playing were born in the Mississippi Delta, and his music influenced a generation of blues and rock musicians.
And a pretty little girl, well, I lose my baby boy, it ain't that bad.
Muddy Waters, along with the Chess Records, invented that amplified harmonica and guitar here in Chicago.
Muddy was Chess Records. To me, it was Chess Records. He was the foundation.
And on that foundation, Chess built the #1 blues label in the world. Their artists were legendary: Howlin' Wolf, Little Walter, Sonny Boy Williamson, and Jimmy Rogers. The Chess brothers were equal partners in the company, but it was Leonard who was the driving force. He was a sharp businessman with a streetwise personality and a hot temper that spared no one, not even his own son.
I went to ask him when I first started working there what my job was. He got really mad at me. How, you know, what the f*** are you asking me that? Watching me is your job. And when you're ready, I'll let you do something. You just got to watch me. You watch me eat, you watch me drive, you watch me talk. That's what he said. He got mad that I asked it.
Leonard and Phil Chess knew the music, but they weren't of the music. So in 1951, Leonard hired bass player Willie Dixon to help out in the studio.
Oh, when my baby kissed me and squeezed me real tight, she looked me in the eyes and say, everything's all right. I get nervous.
Willie Dixon soon became producer, talent scout, and songwriter for the label. His music propelled the careers of many blues artists and helped Chess and Chicago become a magnet for blues musicians.
At one point in time, Chicago was the capital of the world in blues. You can ask the Rolling Stones or the Claptons or whoever came here.
The blues is a basic backbone of just about every form of popular music there is in this century.
When I was a young boy, at the age of 5,
Chicago has produced, everybody that turned me on. But I must say that those guys, Howlin' Wolf, Muddy, and John Lee, the greats of gents, always. I always got the feeling that they looked upon us as the little seeds they planted that had come home.
Leave me, honey. I'll have lots of fun. I'm a Rolling Stone.
Was even stronger. When white kids grew bored with covers and started demanding the real thing, white DJs started playing it.
Maybelline, why can't you be true? Oh, Maybelline, can't you be true? Just start back doing the things you used to do.
It was a dramatic turning point in pop music history. Black music began to cross over to white radio. In 1955, one of the biggest crossover artists out of Chicago was Chuck Berry on Chess Records.
I'm in Michigan, and I got the radio on. And also, God damn, I said, that's Maybelline. Well, in about an hour, I must have heard it about 8 or 10 times. That's God damn. Next thing I know, I got a call. Hey, my brother. Man, forget the goddamn Parents' Weekend. Get your butt back here, man. We got to ship records.
Chuck Berry wrote songs that exploited the white teen experience, with tales of high school, lost loves, and new cars.
Want to cool down, the heat went down, that's when I heard that highway sound. Cadillac setting like a ton of lead, 110, half a mile ahead. Cadillac looked like setting still, and I caught Maybelline at the top of the hill. Maybelline!
We had something that was the right time and the right sound for America.
They called Elvis Presley the king of rock and roll. I disagree. I'll agree with Chuck Berry. He said he was the king of rock and roll, and I believe it. I really do.
Earlier that year, another chess artist, Ellis McDaniel, better known as Bo Diddley, also crossed over to a white teen audience. But he might never have been a chess artist at all if VJ Records just down the street hadn't rejected him.
Hey, Bo Diddley!
They wasn't interested because I was playing something different and something they never heard before. It sounded too primitive or something other. I guess that's what it was, and I went to Chess and Phil Chess called Leonard and told Leonard that, hey, this cat got something different here. It's just might turn out to be something. Let's try it, and here I am.
Let's run one down, Bo. Rolling Master A, take 1.
Bo played the guitar with a drum-like rhythm, a technique that got him a spot on the Ed Sullivan Show in 1955.
He had a big record out called Bo Diddley. At the same time, there was a big record out called 16 Ton. Now, this big honcho, what's his name, Sullivan, wants Bo Diddley to do 16 ton. But man, I'm not goddamn say I don't know nothing about no 16 ton.
I'm supposed to be playing my hit song, you understand me? Not 16 tons. Why you got 16 tons?
Now, he don't know Bo Diddley from Adam, man. He never listened to that. He gets up there and he waits for him to do 16 ton and he does Bo Diddley.
Oh, did the body paper diamond ring? If that diamond ring don't shine. Oh, did the dig it to a private eye? If that private eye can't say, even I take the ring from me.
When it was over, he said, "You'll never be on my show again."
Bo didn't have to be on Sullivan's show again. That one appearance was enough to make him a million seller and put Chess Records on the map. For VJ Records, Bo Diddley was the one that got away.
Talk, dress, perform, everything else. That, his before, I don't think had been done, not to that extent.
Billy Davis was the songwriting partner of Motown president Barry Gordy until Leonard Chess brought him to Chicago in 1961.
Leonard saw Motown rise and prosper, you know, so he wasn't dumb. He realized he had to do something different in order to sell more records.
And oh, and oh, and oh, yeah, now.
Davis left the slick pop sound of Detroit behind and went to work with Chicago artists, steeped in gospel and rough-edged rhythm and blues. At Chess, he found artists like Sugar Pie DeSanto, Mitty Collier, Minnie Riperton, and me, Etta James.
I believe that something got a hold on me, yeah, yeah. Oh, something got a hold on me right now, yeah, child.
I loved Etta because she was pre-Aretha, a great voice with a great soul, great heart.
Step by step, I got a brand new walk. I even sound sweeter when I talk. I said, oh.
And she was such a character. Remember, she'd come with an entourage, a dressmaker, hairdresser, this, that. And she was definitely in the top echelon of a woman singer. Man, she could sing.
In the Billy Davis era, Chess added pop influences and full-blown arrangements and began to move away from the blues to music aimed at a new black generation.